at HIMSS 2012 with Jim Roytek, Senior VP of Physician Practice Solutions of McKesson. Thank you, Jim, for being with me today.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to talk about the regulatory environment and what McKesson is doing to position their client base to respond to these challenges. There was an article in Health IT News this week that said, HIPAA 5010, a train wreck coming. What would be McKesson's view on that?
Well, I mean, just in the past month, with 5010, they delayed the regulations. It was going to be the end of December, and they delayed it to give you another 3 months. I would say the industry's had challenges in the last month that I've seen, and it's stabilized and gotten better. But when you look at the 4010 to 5010, you look at the clearinghouses, the revenue cycle management vendors, and the payers, there's that transition. So when you look at those entities, they're still working through that transition.
Is McKesson ready for 5010?
Yeah, McKesson's ready for 5010. We've got several practice management systems, so we've been planning for it. And depending on the segment, we're helping our customers today.
What about ICD-10? That's another challenge for physicians.
Yeah, and we see ICD-10 as even more challenging than 5010 because changing the way they diagnose. And we will prepare for that with additional services and consulting, so we feel like that'll be needed.
When you hear that the AMA, I believe it was in November, actually petitioned for a moratorium on the implementation of ICD-10, does that indicate that really the U.S. physicians are not ready for this sea change?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's generally industry nervousness. Seeing what's happening with 5010, I think there's some nervousness in the industry. ICD-10 will be bigger and more of an adjustment for the physicians in a workflow. And so it'd be interesting to see what the final ruling is on that, because there's a lot of talk that will get delayed, but I don't know how long or what stay on time. So.
What about meaningful use stage 1? Do you think that we have achieved the benchmarks that were set forth in the regulations?
In my opinion, I see, that's published out there at government websites, the providers that achieve meaningful use, and I see it really ramping now with really a lot of the vendors as they post that. So, I think it's been productive. I don't know if the adoption's been what we thought it would be, but the awareness of AHR has definitely picked up.
Do you think that we're going to achieve the objective of widespread or even ubiquitous adoption of EHR technology by 2014?
I believe there will be a mainstream shift due to the oral regulations by 2014.
What are you specifically doing for the smaller physician groups?
Yeah, for the smaller groups, we've got over 125,000 physicians, independent practices that are not employed by a hospital, and so we've got EHR and practice management there, but we just released a new web-based solution, SaaS-based solution that is really, we feel it's going to be very popular. We already got a lot of demand for it for the smaller physicians, the 1Z, 2Z, 3Z physicians, primary care that don't have a lot of capital, they don't have a lot of IT staff, and with the web-based, they don't have to buy the server and have all the needs for that. We also have what we call practice care, which is a suite of consulting services that will help them with doing well financially, operationally, and also clinically. An example of that would be for primary care to achieve patient-centered medical home status. We've got an affordable solution for 1Z, 2Z doctors that go along with the EHR to help them.
When you have a cloud-based product, how much more challenging is the security that you need to implement into that?
Yeah, there's industry regulations as far as security to secure the data, like encryption, and there's also the data backup. I mean, because the data is in one location, so we get a lot of questions. Is my data okay? Because it's not in my office. But we've got the not to get too technical, the backup systems for that, and then also we have to adhere to the security regulations and make sure it's secure and tested compliance.
What does McKesson do to deconstruct these regulations? Yeah,
and we look at it, and McKesson, we feel like we play in all parts of what an ACO would be, and it is evolving, if you read. And I don't know if anyone in the industry can say exactly what an ACO is going to be, but if you read the pilots and the regs, it could be a hospital, it could be an independent group, it could be an entity as long as they abide by population management. And so it'll be interesting as these pilots evolve where it goes. But we're in all the whole ecosystem of healthcare. So in our business, independent physicians, we feel like that's going to be a key, because you can see the shift towards primary care, patient-centered medical home, and so what we see is having connectivity and engagement with the enterprise, the patient, and care coordination. So traditionally you've had AHR, but as you coordinate across the system and go from primary care to specialist hospitals, that's going to be a pillar of an ACO.
Do you think that the ACO paradigm is very critical to the goal of cutting costs?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, you shift from fee-for-service to population management, and as you evolve it certainly would cut costs, in my opinion.
Do you think that at the end of the day we're going to get better health care out of the regulatory environment?
I think yes. You will, because you'll measure quality. It'll better make decisions, and I think it is better.
Give me your thought on what the theme of HIMSS 2012 is this year.
Just the theme, all the vendors, and it's a really busy show. It's questions you ask, preparing for workflow changes with meaningful use and 5010, ICD-10, and helping the providers through transitions.
Thank you so much. This is Ann Fishman at HIMSS 2012.